everybody, and welcome back for another episode of From BA to Broadway. Today, we are, of course, bringing you In the Spotlight. I cannot do it alone. I, of course, am joined by the one, the only, Mr. Daniel Solly. Danny, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
I think I'm realizing that I don't know if I announce my own name in the episodes. I'm just, assuming. So, I don't know if I should start doing that.
I think you do.
I didn't just now. I don't know if I've always done it.
I usually zone out when you do the intro. I don't know. Do you want to do it again and see?
No, I think it's funnier if we just keep it like this.
Okay.
Great.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about one of the best, one of my faves. Oh my God, wait, forgot to say, this episode is brought to you by Melanie. Thank you so much for your support, Melanie. Folks, if you want to choose the show that we talk about in an episode, you can do so by joining us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/BA to Broadway. Anywho, today, Melanie is bringing us, Waitress the Musical. Fa, 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 fa. That's really, that sound effect is just, I'm so glad that came into the zeitgeist of mainstream,
just the zeitgeist of your bedroom.
No, I just like the world. It really came in one day, and I don't think it's really gone away. Everyone's very enthusiastic about it still.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it to you.
Anywho, Waitress.
We love Waitress.
Yes.
Do you love Waitress? I love Waitress. Everyone loves Waitress.
We all love Waitress.
Waitress, obviously, if you're anyone, you know this. Music and lyrics.
If you're anyone,
Sarah Bareilles.
Mm-hmm.
Book by Jesse Nelson, choreography by Lauren Lautaro. Original production was directed by Diane Paulus, which makes it an all-women production team.
Whoa.
Waitress has made history for this. The only other time there was an all-female creative team was in 1976 with the Broadway production of The Runaways, and that is because Liz Swados wrote the book, music, and lyrics, and she was also the director and the choreographer.
Have you ever seen Runaways?
I don't know Runaways, no.
My college did a terrible production of Runaways.
They?
Yeah.
Liz,
I don't know if I should say that. I don't care. I'm over it.
We graduated. Liz Swados directed a production at NYU when I was there.
Oh,
I wasn't
cool.
in it, so I never really met her.
Yeah.
But apparently she was a wild one to work with.
Wow.
And it was because her whole thing was very avant-garde experimental theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that cast had a wild ride.
For sure.
But how incredible to say you worked with Liz Swados.
Of course.
Waitress was based on the 2007 film Waitress, which was directed by Adrian Shelley. Have you ever seen the movie?
No.
I have.
I have.
So I am better than you. No, it's funny. I saw it on a flight, on an airplane. I was a kid, years and years ago.
Specifying airplane.
On an airplane, the one that flies.
It's not on a flight.
On a flight in an airplane.
Gotcha, copy that. Great.
I was a kid, and it was just one of the ones that were on the plane.
Yeah.
And then years later, when Waitress came about, I was like, why does this story is so familiar? Why do I know this story? It's because I had seen the movie so long ago. I know everyone is on the edge of their seat with that story. Whatever. So the musical follows Jenna Hunterson, who is a baker at a diner in the general American South, and she is in an abusive relationship with her husband, Earl. After she unexpectedly becomes pregnant, she begins to have an affair with her OBGYN, Dr. Palmater. Her friends at the diner, Becky, who is currently having an affair with the diner's owner, Joe, and Dawn, who meets
Earl, not Joe.
Earl is the manager. Joe is the owner of the diner.
That'd be crazy.
Thanks for catching that.
Yeah, that was.
And
I don't want to spread that.
Her other friend is Dawn, who meets and falls in love with a man named Ogie. Are her friends and confidants throughout the show. And she decides to enter a pie baking contest and hopes to use the grand prize as her chance to leave her life with Earl behind and start fresh so she can build a life with her baby. And that is the premise of the show.
Yeah.
And fun fact that I did not know, originally when they were talking about creating the show, Paula Vogel was going to be the writer of the book.
Oh.
Paula Vogel, who wrote Indecent, who wrote How I Learned to Drive.
Interesting.
And then she dropped out before, I think they even started writing. But that would be fascinating.
That feels like
such
it would
a
be
different,
very tonally
show.
different.
Very tonally different.
Yeah.
Like imagine Waitress in the style of Indecent.
I really can't.
I can't, but it would just be a different energy.
I don't know if I can't or I shouldn't, but
like Waitress has got that like fun, quirky energy.
Of course.
I think Paula Vogel would be like abuse. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's her vibe.
That's the center.
So it would have been a totally different show.
Yeah.
Just like insane.
Yeah.
And it is a show about infidelity, which is crazy.
It is a show where everyone is rooting on two people having affairs.
And where an OBGYN is having sex with his pregnant patient.
Crazy.
It's like so crazy that no one talks about that.
They just sound so pretty, though.
They're just so pretty. And I mean, the show only works and we're only rooting for them because she's in such an abusive relationship.
For sure.
And, throughout the musical, we're watching Jenna squirrel money away so she can leave her life behind and enter you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Earl was any kind of a decent guy, the musical would tank because everyone would be like, what the hell is going on here? So it kind of rides on that fact.
Totally.
But also, I don't know, it's kind of refreshing when characters are not perfect. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
She's like a flawed character who's in a terrible situation, and so she has an affair with her husband, and,
Of course.
like, life isn't black and white. The musical originated at American Rep Theater in Massachusetts in August of 2015.
Hey, I'm from there.
Did you see it?
No.
Do you ever see shows there?
I've never been to ART.
I would love to see a show at ART. I've never been.
I think it's supposed to be a very beautiful space.
I wish I got to see Gatsby there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come to Broadway.
Oh, 100%. But to see a show there, that's like that's like I saw Waitress at ART. I saw Hamilton at the Public.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to do whatever the next big thing is. We'll have to take a trip.
Who knows when the next big thing is going to be? And so the
who knows when it's
who knows everyone. So this cast featured Jessie Mueller as Jenna, Drew Gelling as Dr. Palmer, Joe Tippett as Earl, Jenna DeWall as Dawn.
Wow.
Who we talked about her in our previous episode. Currently playing Reno Sweeney and Anything Goes at the Muni.
At the Muni.
At the Muni. I always get the Muni and the Guffrey confused.
Gina DeWall.
All right. Kayala Settle as Becky. Dakin Matthews, who is the principal in Gilmore Girls, for those who know, played Joe. And Jeremy Morse played Ogie. And then when the show transferred to Broadway in 2016, the whole cast transferred except Nick Cordero joined the cast as Earl. Kimiko Glenn took over as Dawn. Kimiko is from Orange is the New Black, if you watched that show.
Never watched that.
You've never watched it?
No.
I feel like you would.
And I'm curious what you mean by that.
Don't worry about it. And Broadway legend Christopher Fitzgerald took over as Ogie.
Of course.
They warmed up real pies in the theater as audience entered, so the whole place smelled like a bakery.
And you know what? It worked.
Did you buy one of those pies?
No, not one of those, but immediately.
Not one of those.
Immediately after I left the theater, I looked at my cousin and I was like, we got to find some pie. And that's how I discovered the little pie shop in Hell's Kitchen.
The little pie shop on 44th?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've gotten cheesecake there.
That's weird. It's a pie shop.
Literally, what do you want from me?
But yeah, no.
I used to be in a little
we literally
we called it like the Cheesecake Club.
Oh my God.
And it was me and two friends. Here, I'll go on this. This is a fun memory. I'm remembering it now. When I was on tour, me and my two friends were watching that, the episode of Friends?
Of course.
With the cheesecake?
Of course.
So we were watching that in a hotel room and we were like, oh my God, I need cheesecake.
Of course,
right now. So we went out and we got one piece of cheesecake that the three of us shared. And then it became our thing on tour. And then when we got back to the city, we were like, guys, I think we need to keep this going. And we would just go to different bakeries in the city and get one slice of cheesecake for the three of us.
That's so cute.
I know.
You should bring that back.
I should be like, hey, we haven't talked in 10 years, but do you want to do this thing again?
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening, let's get some cheesecake. That was a really cute thing I used to do.
I agree.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that in so long.
Wow.
That was cute.
Anyway, shout out Little Pie Shop.
Shout out Little Pie Shop.
Is it Little Pie Company?
I think it's Little Pie Company.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Really cute little bakery. I think it's on 43rd between 9th and 10th.
We sprinted there. I was like, I was
Because
like,
you were like, I am not buying these personal pies for
No.
$25 a piece.
I was like, I need it.
And fun fact, the dough that Jenna needs throughout the show. I mean, first of all, the whole cast was trained by a professional baker.
That's
Because they're like,
amazing.
if you're going to be handling dough and stuff, we're going to try and make you not look like idiots. And Jessie Mueller kept getting a reaction, so they had to give her gluten-free dough. And for the rest of the Broadway run, every Jenna had gluten-free dough just because Jessie Mueller was getting an allergic reaction.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there could really, I've never really heard so much of like physical like reaction, you know? I feel like it's always ingestion and stomach related for allergies, but that's crazy.
I don't know. There's an interview where she talks about it. I don't know if she's gluten-free.
Yeah.
But there was something about the dough that was giving her like mucusy stuff or whatever because it was getting in her face. So they're like, oh, let's try this. Let's try something else. So they gave her gluten-free dough.
Gotcha.
And so on Broadway, all the Jennas use gluten-free dough.
Fun fact.
And so this one has a fun Broadway history too, because the original Broadway production closed of January of 2020, but then they remounted the original Broadway production in May of 2021.
They sure did.
They opened it with Sarah Bareilles playing the part of Jenna, primarily so that they could film the production for release. So another thing that we love is when they film these Broadway shows live.
Make theater accessible.
They filmed that cast of Waitress. It was Sarah Bareilles was leading it, and most of the original cast came back, but it's not all the original cast. It's some other people in there as well. And you can rent it on, I think it's on Amazon Prime. You can rent it.
Yeah.
So go watch that.
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it either.
I
think it's because Waitress is a heavily bootlegged show.
That's true.
So I feel like I've seen so many. I never am like, oh, I need to sit down and watch the professionally filmed version of Waitress. But I think we should.
I agree.
And then the revival closed, quote unquote revival closed in December of 2021, a little bit early because of a COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
And at the time, Ciara Renee and Joshua Henry were starring in it. Who I saw. I saw Joshua Henry and Ciara Renee.
Amazing.
I went for Ciara Renee, I think, is one of the most underrated Broadway actresses.
I don't really know her.
She has the worst luck. So she made her Broadway debut as Bettina Miller's replacement in Pippin to play the leading player. She was like 22, like fresh out of Broadway, took over, and then I think she did some television work, and then she took over for Casey Levy in Frozen on Broadway.
Okay.
To play Elsa, huge, she was like, and it was a big deal at the time because she's mixed race. So it was like Broadway hired a mixed race actress to play Elsa.
That was a huge deal.
Are you making fun of me?
No, genuinely.
That was right? Like that was a huge deal. She had like such a big moment.
Yes.
She had like a couple weeks of performances and then COVID shut down. And then Frozen did not return after COVID.
No.
And then,
which is crazy to me.
Apparently they hemorrhaged money though.
I know, but like that's a cash cow. Like that is something that I feel like would never.
I never saw it, so I don't really know.
I saw it on tour. I mean, in terms of a Disney film to stage musical, it's not my favorite. I mean, I like it for sure, but like that just name alone, I cannot imagine that not being popular for tourists and families.
Yeah, well, tell that to Ciara Renee, all right?
I don't want to. I don't think I'm gonna tell her that.
And then she finally gets to play Jenna in Waitress, and then her cut gets run short again. And she's got one of the best voices on Broadway. I think she is so underrated. She should have been like Elphaba by now, but whatever.
Let's get her up there. Dude, maybe she hasn't thought about it yet. You should tell her.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
We should. Should we? Yeah. Guys, we'll be back.
Yeah, 1 second. We're gonna go tell her.
Yeah.
Oh, hey everyone, we're back. We told her. Don't worry.
Next week she'll be in.
Yeah.
So Waitress had become one of those shows that were like, obviously we need to just StarCast the fuck out of it for the whole run to get people to keep coming back, because it did garner this like huge fandom. And the role of Jenna is so StarCasty, it's easy to just like plug people in there. And so throughout the Broadway run, Sarah Bareilles, she opened the revival, but she also, I think, was the first replacement. I think she replaced Jessie Mueller. And then Betsy Wolfe played it for a long time, Nicolette Robinson, Shoshana Bean, Allison Luff, Jordan Sparks, Ciara Renee. I think Jennifer Nettles played it for a while. And then big Dr. Palmer replacements included Jason Mraz,
which is crazy.
Got off his avocado farm and went and did it on Broadway.
I'm sorry, what?
He owns an avocado farm in the middle of the country.
No, I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, because I think him and Sarah Bareilles are friends.
Oh, okay.
And he's on all the demos.
Gotcha.
Like, if you listen, I think he's the friend where she was like, hey, I'm writing this thing and I just need a male voice.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be on all the demos?
That's really cool.
So if she released, how she released a lot of the demos as an album? Like, that's him. So I think that's why they were like, hey, do you want to come and like do the finished thing?
Yeah. Nice.
Gavin Creel.
That's who I saw. He was great.
We're going to talk about our Jennas in a minute. Joey McIntyre from Kids on the Block, Jeremy Jordan, and Joshua Henry were kind of our big Dr. Palmer's. Who did you see?
I saw Shoshana Bean, Gavin Creel. Noah Galvin was Ogie.
Oh my God.
I don't remember who else was there.
Wow. I saw the full original cast. I saw it like a week before Jesse left.
Okay.
And then I saw it again with Sarah Renee, like right at the end of the remounting run.
Yep.
How was Shoshana?
Amazing.
Really?
Of course. She was amazing.
That was like nuts. I kind of wanted to go see her so bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was, she killed it. She did.
Did you see it for her?
No,
we
we were just on a trip. We said, let's watch a show. This is really popular.
And it was Waitress.
Let's give it a shot.
And it was her and Gavin Creel.
Yeah.
That's a duo.
It was, it really was.
I love Gavin Creel.
Me too.
I think it's kind of fun that they like so hardcore star cast Dr. Palmer because he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
even with the Ogie, like when they start bringing like Tadra Collin, I'm like, I don't. This feels just really out of pocket to just like be bringing all these people in for this role in particular.
God, he did it.
Yeah, and
God.
Colleen Ballinger as
she was Dawn, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. I mean, notice how I left out one of the famous Jennas because she's a Republican.
In this economy, absolutely not.
We're
not giving them this platform.
Someone who donates money to Donald Trump, even if you did originate Jenna in the West End, you do not get to be said on this podcast.
Not on this show.
Toy.
Dun dun.
I wish I got to see Sarah. Are you a Sarah Bareilles stan? I feel like you would be.
Not particularly.
That's surprising to me. I love how we say that to each other as little digs.
You're like, someone that listens to regular music, they must love Sarah Bareilles.
She is regular music.
I know.
You can't look me in the eye and tell me she's not literally pop music.
That's literally what I was saying.
I'm just surprised that you don't like her.
Oh my God, I like her.
You are the demographic of people who would love Sarah Bareilles.
I like her. I wasn't like, she needs to play Jenna. It's like, she needs to get in here. She needs to be the baker's wife. I wasn't sad that she did any of those things. She was great.
You were actively sad.
I was so sad.
No, I think I love Sarah Bareilles. I'm a Sarah Bareilles fan.
She's great.
I'm glad she didn't originate the role.
Oh, 100%. That would have been.
I'm really glad because I think Jessie Mueller is one of my tops. I love Jessie Mueller. Where is Jessie Mueller? Where's she been?
Where are you, Jessie?
Like she hasn't been in a big musical for a minute, and it's time.
Yeah.
Girl, get off the couch. It's time. But I think Sarah needed time to to be ready to play the role.
Yeah.
And I think she knew that, and I'm glad that she didn't stick herself in there to start. And if you watch, there are bootlegs of her from like when she first started in the role and bootlegs of her at the end of her run, and it is night and day. Like, she grew exponentially. That's why I have a lot of respect for her.
Oh, she puts in the work.
I think she's someone who knew it. She's like, I'm not a Broadway actor.
Yeah.
This is my debut of New York theater. She really put in the work. She's not like, oh, I'm Sarah Bareilles. I don't have to work. I have a name and I'm famous already.
For sure.
She put in the work, and I don't think she would have done The Baker's Wife if she didn't do so many runs in Waitress
100%.
and learn so much and grow so much.
Yeah.
So I know that she's probably waiting for my validation, and this is me giving it to her.
Sarah, I'm so glad that we got to bring this to you via the podcast. You're obviously listening. Once again, you're welcome on here anytime. Get over here, girly pop.
Sarah, I know you're listening.
Absolutely.
I know. And Waitress debuted in an absolutely insane season. It was the 2016 season. Oh my God,
yeah.
Literally, so Jessie Mueller was obviously Tony nommed.
Mm-hmm.
Her category was Cynthia Erivo for The Color Purple, Laura Benanti for She Loves Me, Carmen Cusack for Bright Star, and Philippa Sue for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like, imagine sitting in that room.
That was a crazy season.
That season was batshit insane.
We haven't had a Broadway season like that since then.
You know, the season kind of, it was that season where it was so good.
Yeah.
But everything got overshadowed by Hamilton.
Exactly.
So a little bit, I remember like watching the Tony Awards and I was like, I kind of wish Hamilton wasn't in this season because then it would be like an insane race. This race, we were like, oh, we know, like,
for
Hamilton's
sure,
winning everything. That was just, I mean, just imagine like sitting in that room, like all the, it was like,
I can't even imagine.
We haven't had as crazy of a season since. Even this past season with all of the new musicals and it was like insane. That season was just, it was like the top of the top.
Truly,
I feel like that's going to be next season.
I would love that.
Next
I really hope so.
It's going to be insane. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I can't wait, honestly. This
great. Season was bloodbath of the new musicals. Next season is bloodbath of the divas.
That's exactly right.
And that's what this season was.
Oh my God.
And Waitress, I think besides Hamilton, Waitress lasted the longest out of any of the shows that season.
Also just like, obviously big people, big stars, whatever, but like also just like really great pieces of theater. You know? It was just
so solid. I think
so refreshing.
The most solid aspect of Waitress is the score. I think it is such a solid score. It is, I just lost my train of thought. It is, and then I walk away.
Yeah. Danny, come back.
It is like the example of like, yeah, no one is against movie to musical adaptations. No. We're against bad ones. Like, we're against lazy ones. Waitress is a show that, like, it didn't rely on, like, a famous IP just to get butts in the seats. Because I think they couldn't. Waitress was kind of an indie movie. It wasn't,
also, if you're sitting in a theater and you go, oh, I didn't realize this was a movie. That's the kind of movie musical that we love. You know?
Yeah, like we're not against adaptations. We're against lazy adaptations.
Yeah.
And I feel like Waitress really is not a lazy adaptation.
No.
It is like the score is so high quality and it's kind of that perfect blend of like, you can clearly tell like she's a pop song artist. Like she writes popular music, but she is writing for the theater. And
you can see that intersection in such an interesting way that I don't always feel that. I don't frequently feel that, but this in particular was like, damn.
It's a really good intersection. They got a really good writer.
Yeah.
I mean, Diane Paulus never misses. They just had like a team. And you know, it's incredible what you can do with a team full of women.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We should replace us. We should get 2 women in here.
To replace us.
Yeah.
They'd probably have better conversations than we do.
That's really true. That's really true.
And yeah. You know what we never got that I would love to have gotten? I know you think I'm about to say a Patti LuPone Jenna. I'm not. I'm not. A Stephanie J. Block Jenna.
Yeah. I did actually feel that.
You felt that
stirring.
Coming?
Yeah.
Or like a Casey Levy Jenna.
Shouldn't
do it.
Okay. Interesting.
Shouldn't do it. I think there were rumors about it.
Heard.
But now I think we're going to get... Because Waitress is everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is doing Waitress. They just released the rights. Everyone's doing Waitress.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get a lot of the people who didn't get to do it on Broadway be like, I'm a star and I'm going to go do it at this regional theater.
Of course.
You know,
that's they're trying to hop on it right
now. That's like Jessica Vosk, right?
Yeah.
Right? She's doing it at the Muni?
I don't know for sure, but I believe you're right.
Yeah. Jessica Vosk. And she was the one where everybody was like, why isn't she doing it on Broadway? Where is she? She's doing it regionally. I'm sure we're probably going to see a Natalie Weiss Jenna at some point somewhere.
Well, we've already had the Muni. We already had a Gunkwit. Like, that's 2 of the heavy hitters already. Yeah. Like, Maybe once PCLO does it, you know, to a con.
Paper Mill.
I don't know if Paper Mill would do it.
Why not?
That feels too close to the city.
It's not running in the city.
I know. I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, yeah. Get those girlies in there. Get me in there.
And I know this is an educational podcast.
Yes.
So I want to share a story with our listeners.
Please, educate.
In the name of education.
Yes.
Because it has to do with Waitress. So you're going to hear your teacher say this. It's something my teacher said this to me. And you're going to probably ignore them the way most of us ignore them. But it's very good advice. Yes. I had teachers say to me, particularly if it is a big Broadway show, if it is a role that you think you're perfect for, if it is your dream role, what you need to do is find the audition packet, and learn it. Learn the audition packet before you get an appointment. Because when you get an appointment for your dream role, you don't want that to be the night where you're like, oh my God, I have to learn these sides.
Yeah.
You want to be like, no, I've sang the song in my voice lesson. I've got notes on it from teachers. I know this material. I feel very confident going in.
Yeah.
I saw Waitress when I was in college. And I loved Waitress. And I saw the character of Ogie. And I said, that's my part.
Yeah.
If there's a part on Broadway that I could step into tomorrow, it'd be that part. I got to play this part. When they were sending out the tour in 2018, I was busting my ass to get an appointment, get in the room. I finally get an email with an appointment and with a little Ogie packet as I'm clocking in for my 3 to midnight shift at my survival job at the time. And they're like, great, audition is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Here's the packet.
Oh my God.
I had never sung that song before.
Ever?
I had never sung it. I didn't know the scenes. And I was literally like dashing to the basement whenever I could at work to be like, okay, let me thank God I know the soundtrack so well so I can more easily memorize it. And I remember so clearly being like, I shot myself in the foot.
Heard.
If that is your dream role, why don't you know the song? Yeah. Why have you never brought it to voice lesson? And it wasn't a disaster. Like, the audition was fine. I did it. I loved that show, so I knew the song. I just remember that moment being like, this is what they told
For
me,
sure.
and I didn't do it. It should never. When you get the appointment, should never be the first time you look at the packet.
We should make a database of all the audition packets. We should make a drive of that.
Because especially a show like Waitress, a show like Wicked, like everyone's someone has a packet,
and they never deactivate the link. I literally go back and look at the Wicked materials from the same link from last year,
from the virtual EVA.
Yeah, literally. It's they never take it down. Like, it's just all the same stuff that they're using over and over and over again.
There are several songs I still use backing tracks from callbacks that I've had that they sent it to me. And
exactly.
I'm like, oh my God, this is a perfect accompaniment. And
I'm okay, they already did the cut for me.
And I have it favorited in my email.
Exactly.
And every so often I'm like, I should save this because one day I'm going to lose my man up accompaniment and I'm going to be fucked.
I literally have the Grow For Me little shop. It's the audition cut. It has their information in the top right corner. Yep. I use their backing track. It's already cut for me.
So that is my biggest piece of advice. And obviously, unless you're very, very, very fortunate, we're working 40 to 60 hours a week just to afford to live in the city to audition.
Totally.
And sometimes you don't get noticed, and sometimes you literally just have to do the best that you can do. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, if you have a dream role and you know it's your dream role and you know it's something that comes around, get the packet and learn it. Yeah. That way, I could have had such a less stressful night of okay, well, I'm working tonight, but I know the song and I know the scenes. Yeah. So I can go home and review them and then be ready for tomorrow.
For sure.
As opposed to being panicked for 8 hours at my job, trying to memorize it under the table at work, and then getting home and being up half the night, trying to memorize the song and learn how to sing it because I had never sung it before full out,
For sure.
So that was my learning experience. And unfortunately, it was with Waitress.
That's a very
and
great
not
tip.
Something that I didn't care about.
Yeah. I mean, in general, folks, when you're going to voice lessons, priority number 1 is to learn your book for sure. But once again, that should only be 10 to 12 songs. So after you breeze through those, then start practicing those dream roles. Start practicing those things that you are going to be going in for several times.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it feels superstitious.
Yeah.
it feels a little superstitious to be like, okay, well, I've never been called in, but I still want to work on never getting rid of me.
Yeah.
But it's just good. It's just smart. It's just being smart, and it's helping yourself out in the future.
You don't need to be rehearsing the piece. Like, you don't need to be ironing everything out and putting it in stone. You just need to know vocally how to tackle it.
Yeah, you need to have worked on it and just like have it there.
Yeah.
Have it in the body. So you know, because the unfortunate reality is like sometimes we get 2 weeks with an appointment, and sometimes they're like, great, come in tomorrow at 9 a.m. And you just have to say yes and be ready.
Also, when you get those audition packets, put it on tape. Just put it on tape.
Yeah.
Just to keep it in your back pocket.
Always keep the packets. And I mean, sometimes it's a new show, and like sometimes you really can just do what you can do. I mean, always you can only do what you can do. But for a big show, if you want to be in a big show like Waitress, like Wicked, like anything else like that, the packets are out there.
100%.
It's so easy to find the packets.
Do it.
I say that. I still don't have a Bach packet. I need, like, you know.
We can get that.
We gotta get
our hands
we gotta
on
get that
ya.
shit, guys.
Yeah.
So that is my learning experience.
That was a good sprinkle of education in there.
Yeah, sprinkle of education, and it happened with Waitress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Waitress, great show, great songs, a lot of good stuff to put in your book.
Songs,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a tricky one because I think
some of the stuff can swing a little bit, so you have a folk-ish option, country folk-ish option.
Yeah.
Which is great. A lot of it fits in contemporary, up and down.
Yeah.
All you boys out there, You Matter to Me as a nice, soft contemporary ballad. Great. Great.
I would just be careful with singing from the show.
Like for the show?
Depends.
Okay.
Depends. Or do you mean auditioning for the show?
No, I just mean like having it in your book.
I think Waitress is a little tricky, I think.
Yeah?
I think, I don't know. I think it's another one where, like, especially right when it came out, it was everywhere.
Of course.
So it's kind of like, okay, you're going to be another girl with what Bacon can do in your book.
Yep.
Now it kind of like petered out a little bit, but now everyone's doing it.
That's fair.
And I think you just have to be smart. I was told recently by someone who was on a production team for a production of Waitress.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, how are the auditions? And they said, I'm trying to think of how to word this. They were like, it's just so interesting how, you know, we give out a breakdown and we're saying Jenna 30s and a bunch of like 22-year-olds are coming in singing She Used to Be Mine. And it's like, know how you would fit in the context of the show.
Yeah.
It's like, should you be singing She Used to Be Mine, or should you be singing When He Sees Me if you're going to sing from Waitress?
Yeah.
And I think the Jenna songs like She Used to Be Mine and What Bacon Can Do are another two of those songs that have just entered the zeitgeist of like, you can find 10 She Used to Be Mine compilations where everyone is just waiting to hear what you're going to do during that belty section.
And every tenor's like, I'm going to do this and it's going to be so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coming from me specifically.
Did you do that?
Maybe.
Oh my God. Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to dig that up.
So I don't know. I would just be careful with the score of Waitress. Just because it's one of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those.
If you're going to, use it smart. You know, like you don't need to do the overdone. You don't need to do the biggest heavy hitters. But there are some just like really great soft niche stuff that is really acting forward that you can
But
utilize.
at the same time, I was also told once by a casting director who said, you know, he was like, look, I'm not going to lie to you. This basic white girl came in, said she was singing She Used to Be Mine. We all kind of rolled our eyes a little bit. And wiped the floor with us. Yeah. Gave us the most in-depth, beautiful rendition of this song. And we were all clamoring for her. Yeah. So it's just being honest. With every song, it's just being honest with yourself. You're like, am I giving something unique to a basic song? You know, not that it's a basic song, but it's a widespread song. And if you're like, no, I am like shaking the dust off the roof with this song, do it.
Totally.
But self-reflection.
Do you have Take It From an Old Man in your book?
The fuck out of here. Get out. Get out. Out right now. You should. something I loved that Waitress did during its Broadway run was they cast Joe. Joe is the old man character.
Yes.
He's the owner of the diner. They cast a woman in the middle of the run.
They did.
They cast a woman in the middle of the run, and they just like changed the pronouns and probably changed the key of his song.
Yeah.
And then she left, and they replaced her with a man. And it was just one of those things where it can happen, you know?
Change the key. Change the key on Broadway. Do it.
It's like, and that,
God.
and I get that particular character, like, you can change something like that, and you don't have to do massive structural changes to the show. But I was like, why can't we do this with some things? Like, why does it have to be such a big to-do for a production to do something like that, you know?
There has to be some form of scoring software where you can click a button and it lowers the whole thing X amount of steps.
They'll do it for stars, just not for us.
Yeah. What the hell? It's a click of a button. Just do it. Just do it.
Who was it? I think...
Even 4 stars, you know?
Changing keys has been around forever. I think it was Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl had her matinee key and her night key.
That's great.
Different keys.
That's great.
Different keys. But they wouldn't do that for someone who doesn't have the power to say that, hey, we're going to do this.
Also, just like rights wise, like it costs so much more to change the key of a song, but for what reason?
Does it?
Yeah, like MTI and stuff, you have to pay to change keys. What? Yeah.
Yeah, but what community theater's paying to change keys? Come on.
I mean, also in that vein, what community theater can change the keys on their own without being given the sheet music from the direct source?
Oh, the community theater I grew up doing theater at.
Oh, that's great.
It was so illegal, though.
Yeah.
So illegal.
Let me tell you.
She had this like magic machine, though, that would like change the keys.
That's great.
Of the backing tracks.
So there is a program that you can get with MTI with your packet. It's called Rehearse Score, and it will give you, it's like a computer program with backing rehearsal tracks, but you can go in and like click the parts and turn certain parts off so you can listen to just your part. I started using that the first year in college, and I think it's like $100 extra materials wise, but like, y'all, if you are directing or producing a show out there, that is so freaking worth it. You know, if MTI shows Rehearse Score, get it, use it, send it out. I think it comes on a CD-ROM or something. Maybe now it's digital, but in 2015, it was on
a CD-ROM.
It was a CD-ROM. So we just all brought our laptops and disk drives to rehearsal, and we all downloaded it on our computer first day, and it was a lifesaver, especially for quick processes. Hell yeah.
Wait, so what does it do?
It's a program with all of the music in it, like audio tracks, and you can go in and you can like click on just your track, just your voice part, and you can listen to just your voice part in the context of everything. You can make your voice part a little louder in the context of everything, and you can learn your shit that way. You can also use it as backing tracks for your shows. It is a little like digital in terms of that. Like it definitely sounds a little digital, so I would maybe advise against that in terms of actual backing tracks, but it is a wicked good rehearsal tool.
Interesting. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah. That is something really cool. I don't know if MTI offers it with all of their shows.
Yeah.
But
so you're buying the score of the show you're doing? Or it's a program?
It's a program.
So you have the program now?
No, it times out. You use it, it's like, yeah,
Rats.
They're smart about it, unfortunately.
I don't know what the woman that I did community theater with growing up, she had this thing and she would just change all the keys, whoever needed it. Super illegal, but you know what? That's what theater should be.
That's great.
It's for the performer, not, you know?
I'm all for it.
She would also just buy like the rights to 3 shows and do those every year and never pay rights.
Heard. Let me tell you, that Aladdin Junior script got passed from school to school in our district.
Did it really?
Yeah. Our middle school did it, and then our high school did it. Then our middle school did it again.
To this day, she is doing the same 5 shows.
Amazing.
Like, because I see on Facebook, I'm like, oh, wow. Same sets, same
You're getting your money's worth.
I was like, that little Jesus in your Godspell is wearing the same t-shirt that I wore in 2008.
Yeah.
Like, insane.
Wow.
But kind of iconic.
Truly.
You know? I wonder if we're going to see, like, high schools run through Waitress.
It
could be tricky.
I don't think that's a good one to make a youth version of.
Well, no, I don't think there should be a youth version, but I wonder if it's going to enter the high school zeitgeist.
I hope not.
Why?
Just the idea of the pregnancy situation and all of that. It feels like it would be a very
I think it's a very empowering show, though.
It is very empowering.
It's a very empowering show that depicts like the reality of like being in an abusive relationship and how that can happen.
And like, I guess you can remove kind of the sex stuff from the Palmater Jenna relationship and still have it be potent.
Like, you can have them have like a quote unquote affair, but I think a lot of the sex stuff is in the staging.
Yeah.
And there's a way to do it, you know, where you're like, okay, like we're being suggestive because we are like, you know, high schoolers, but we're not having sex on stage. I don't know. It's a show that I wouldn't hate to see.
Interesting.
You know, I think it's a message that is useful for teenagers.
That's very fair.
For like a teenage girl to see this story and like recognize what's going on here.
Yeah. I take back what I said. I'm for it.
I should be a lawyer. That was good.
A lawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should
easy.
do that. Yeah. Okay. Any closing thoughts on Waitress the Musical?
I don't know. I feel like we got a good scope, right?
I agree. Go listen to it. Go watch it since you have this great Broadway professionally recorded pro shot.
Recorded. There's bootlegs everywhere. Some shows have bootlegs. This is a show that has bootlegs
of
everywhere.
Every performance.
There are Jenna compilations. You know, you can see like every Jenna's full show.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go check them out, folks. As always, your general programming reminders. Every Monday, we are here with the main episode. Every Wednesday, Danny and I are bringing you In the Spotlight. You can find us on most social media platforms at BA2Broadway. You can find me at Brennan Stefanik.
And you can find me at DSauls.
And
or at Audra McDonald.
And until next week, folks. Bye. From BA to Broadway is created, produced, and edited by Brennan Stefanik, music by Dylan Kaufman, and cover art by Jordan Vongsithi.